Hello friends, welcome back to Carla's Kitchen. Today we are preparing a most delicious meal. Warning, you will never look at canned soup the same way again after you make this dish. It's going to ruin the rest of it for you, so be forewarned if you're going to try this one out. First things first, I've already just done the prep work to get it out of the way. So what I've got is 2 large sheet pans, parchment lined. My oven is preheating to 425. Actually, it's already preheated. Well, I turned the oven on and then I started cutting up the veggies. So what I have here is a whole head of garlic. I've chopped the tops off, put some olive oil in there, and salt and pepper, and sealed that up. I'll put a link in the description to the video of how to do that specifically if you want more information. And the additional items that I've got here is I've got a bell pepper, coarsely chopped. I've got half an onion, again coarsely chopped, and most of the layers separated. Some of the smaller layers I left together. Not a big deal, however you want to do it. And I've got about 3 pounds of Roma style tomatoes, plum tomatoes, whatever you call them, cut up. I've cut out the top hard core part and I've quartered the tomatoes. And I've also got 1 carrot peeled and coarsely cut. I did not have any celery today. Normally I would include celery as well, just happen to be out of it. So instead what I'm going to use is you can use celery salt or celery flakes, or both if you want. Trust me, if you sneak a little celery in there, whether you have fresh or you have to use the dried spices, it's going to add just another depth of flavor. So it's mostly a tomato soup that we're making. Obviously, tomato is the bulk of the ingredient, but we're sneaking in some other veggies that add a little bit more flavor as well. So to get everything prepped and into the oven, I'm going to spray down with olive oil. You can spray, or if you don't have a sprayer, drizzle. And then I'm going to go in with my salt grinder, pepper grinder, and then some of the aforementioned celery because I didn't have fresh to add to the sheet. And we're just going to throw this into the oven until everything is blackened. 45, 55 minutes, somewhere in there. Keep an eye on things. You do want to get a little bit of that char happening on most of the veggies on your tray. So, reach around cords here. Go in and spray everything down, or drizzle if you don't have a sprayer. You want to make sure everything has just at least a little oil on it. That's going to help you achieve the char without, you don't want everything burnt tasting, but you do want, the char is going to add more flavor as well. And it's going to render the veggies for our next step. So then I'm just going in with the cracked pepper. I'll hit that other sheet off camera when I can reach it. I'm going to go in with my salt. And you know, as little or as much as you like. If you're watching your salt intake, you can go less with the salt. In that case, if you are watching salt, I would go celery flakes as opposed to the celery salt. And in fact, I am going to use the celery flakes here. I'm going to go in my hand. See if I can't give them a little extra crush. Because we are just going to scrape all of this goodness down once everything is prepared. I see I had a bunch in between my fingers there. So I'm going to make sure that all makes it onto the sheet pan. As I said, I'm going to season the other sheet pan once I hit stop because I can't really reach it at the moment. And then what we're going to do is pop these into the oven, 45 to 55 minutes. Start checking at 45 minutes. You want to see a little bit of black charring happening on most. Make sure you get the middle pieces, get a little char on them. We're going to just grind everything down and turn it into a soup. So go ahead and get these in the oven, and then we'll meet back and go over next steps. Okay gang, once everything is caramelized to your desired darkness, you can see we've got some more charring on the smaller pieces than on the larger ones. Go as dark as you want. And once you get everything out of the oven, let it sit for a good 10 minutes so you don't burn yourself on the next step. we're going to take everything and scrape into a stock pot. If you're using an immersion blender, I do not have a regular like Vitamix or anything to blend this in. You can use that instead if you choose. You want to have a stock pot ready, some vegetable or chicken broth, your choice. And if you've got fresh basil, grab a few leaves of basil. Otherwise, get some dried basil out. Everything into the stock pot, not crock pot, sorry. And what we're going to do with the garlic is just squeeze from the bottom. This is why you let it sit so you don't burn yourself. And all the cloves are going to come out. So all into the stock pot, and we'll be right back. Okay, I've got all of the roasted veggies, the roasted garlic, and my basil already into the stock pot. And if you've roasted on parchment paper like I did, you can just pick the parchment paper up and kind of dump it all into the pot. Or blender if you're using a full-on blender. Next, I'm going to go in with a little bit more salt. And a little bit of pepper. And you can see here we got a really nice char on those, and that's going to add some flavor that is a little unexpected, or at least it was for me the first time I tried this. So next we're going to go in with maybe about a half cup to a cup. Let's say a cup of the broth, and again you can use vegetable or chicken broth if you like. And I would use half cup to a cup if you're using a blender. If you're going to use the immersion blender, you really want to get a little bit more in there, so probably about a half of a large container. I'm at about half right now of the 32 ounce. And I'm probably going to go a little bit more once I get this going. But I'm going to go ahead and blend off camera because it's really loud. So if your soup starts to thicken up more than you like while you're blending, go ahead and add a little bit more of the broth in. And then continue blending. You can make this as thick or as loose as you like. Okay, gang, once you've got everything blended to your liking, if you like a thicker soup, you can even leave some of the chunks in there. Some other options to add, if you want to make it a little more creamy, you can add either some milk or some half and half or heavy cream. And we're just going to want to go onto the stove to reheat the entire dish of soup, because we've added room temperature vegetable or chicken stock, so that's brought the temperature down from when we pulled the veggies out of the oven. And you want to give a taste test and add any final seasonings if you need a little extra salt and pepper, or if you want to throw some garlic salt or something like that in there. Now's the time to do that while you're reheating on the stovetop. So do give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.